Who would have thought when Tracy and I released episode 1 of the 100% Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast way back on April 7th, 2011, that 10 years later we would still be sat here talking about Universal Orlando Resort? Well, it's time to celebrate 10 years of the podcast and talk about what's been going on at Universal Orlando for the last 10 years as well. This is episode 449 of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. Hey everyone, welcome to the show. We are live. For those people watching, we are live on video, all four of us. I can see my co-host while we record. It is bizarre. So let's introduce everyone. I am not here on my own for those of you who are listening. I never am, because that would be ridiculous. So joining me, who has been with me by my side, putting up with all my crap for the last 10 years, my wonderful, wonderful wife, Tracy.
Hello, am I not your good lady wife anymore?
No, because you were annoyed that I kept using that all the time, so I got rid of it.
Hello, everyone.
And coming up next, our second longest host, not including me, that was weird. That is, after 2 guest spots, he actually officially joined the show on number 281, which was the first show of January 2018, and that is my good buddy Chris.
What's up, man?
Hey. And finally, our newest member. And she's only been with us for a very short time. As a host, I will say that. She's been with us as a sponsor and a friend and all the rest of it for a long time, actually, at this point. But her official hosting debut was back on 432, so only 17 episodes ago, back in December last year. And that is the Muggle of Mouse and Muggle, Michelle.
Hello, everybody. I'm the baby.
So welcome to our anniversary show. Basically, I had no idea what I was going to do to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. And I've been panicking about it quite a lot because it is a hell of a momentous occasion.
It is.
And it was actually a tweet from Thomas Stidman that kind of spiked my interest and kind of got me going in a certain direction, because he suggested getting former hosts and guests and stuff to pop in during the show. And I thought, that's way too much work. No one's going to do that. I can't be bothered. But it sent me down a different direction. And I realised, obviously, because we've been doing this show for 10 years, Universal Orlando Resort has changed substantially in the last 10 years. And so I thought I would invite former hosts, people who have contributed to the show, former guests, and some other people to send messages in discussing what they think about the last 10 years at Universal Orlando. And we're going to kind of riff off the back of that and discuss the last 10 years, basically. Because let's be honest, I could talk about the podcast for an hour, but we're all here for one reason, and that is Universal Orlando. So, we are going to begin with our former hosts, and we're going to go OG co-host at this point.
Okay.
The OG co-host.
Okay.
The one, the only, Mr. Hunter Fagan.
Hey everybody, Hunter here, coming in from the Grim Grinning Hosts and Catacombs of Halloween Horror Nights podcast. Was asked to check back in for the first time in a little bit with the old crew and give my opinions on whether or not I thought that the Universal Orlando Resort has improved a lot over the last decade. And I mean, heck yeah, like there's really not even a question about it. Whether you're talking about the smaller additions, like bringing over Hollywood's Transformers The Ride 3D, or even, you know, I'm not a fan, but Jimmy Fallon, and bringing over like big new projects like Reign of Kong, of course, Supercharged, the greatest attraction in the world, Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure, all that right there. Yeah, it's really no question. The parks have improved, everything's going great, and I cannot wait to see where the resort goes in the future. So yeah, I love it. Can't wait to talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Aw, we've been friends for such a long time.
I know.
Bold voices.
Yeah.
Nice to hear him.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's so nice to hear his voice.
My first question, Lee, is how much did you pay him for the Fast and Furious comment there? Because, come on,
Not
man.
enough.
Having edited all of these clips, Fast and Furious is going to come up a lot tonight, is all I will say.
I'm out of here.
But he's right, the parks definitely have improved in the last 10 years. They've made some missteps, but...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but that's how you learn, is by making missteps. You know, it's...
Yeah, they're definitely different parts from 10 years ago. But
Absolutely. Like, personally, I like Jimmy Fallon.
I love Jimmy Fallon.
I told you guys you'd like it.
I like it. I don't know whether it's because I went in with low expectations or not, but I think it's a good attraction.
I think it's because you got a private show the first time.
I mean, that's possibly
Yep.
it.
Yeah.
John Self has a quick question. How did you meet Hunter to start with?
I was putting out messages for people to come on and do trip reports, and it was on the Disboards, I think, at the time, and Hunter messaged me. I think he misconstrued things a little bit and thought I was offering a guest host spot, but when he said he was interested in the behind the scenes of stuff and how things worked, I was like, we always wanted to add an American on the show, just to obviously, because American based part of boots on the ground, because we don't get there all the time.
Right.
He sent us a little clip in, like a sort of audition, I suppose it was, and we fell in love with him. And I'll be honest, Hunter it's weird because he became like a surrogate son to us, because he was like he's about this. How old was he? He was about 17 or 18 at the time. So we kind of became his surrogate parents. Yeah, he was really young. I adore the lad.
He was a big part of our lives.
He was, massively. And then when he left and then came back, and things ended up how he was. And now look at him. He's got his 2 podcasts of his own. He's
he's doing well.
Yep.
That's awesome. He was a host when I first started listening to you guys.
I know, because he was on when you and Robin came on when we announced the sponsorship deal.
Yeah.
Of course, going OG co-hosts. Hunter did leave to go and work for the Mouse for a little bit.
Yes, went to the dark side.
Yes, of all the places. And he was replaced by someone who we'd had on a couple of times, and it seemed the perfect match. And that is Mr. Darren Schmidt himself.
What's up, Internet? Darren here. Man, 10 years. Congrats, UUOP. Can't believe we came up with stuff to talk about Universal for that long. And best of luck to you guys for the next 10 years. Anyways, no, I'm just kidding, of course. Universal has done some incredible things in the last 10 years, and I think you guys will have plenty to talk about in the next 10 with everything that's happening. The last year aside, I don't think that counts. Universal's been doing awesome things, great strides in the annual pass holder program and their social media. Restaurants there, the events, Mardi Gras has just stepped up to an unbelievable level. I don't know if it has the same feeling this year. I don't know if you can blame, you can blame something, or, I think the next 10 years, like I said, are going to be great. The last 10, the innovations that they've made, Hagrid's, Velocicoaster's coming. It's going to be awesome. And of course, very epic down the line. But until then, good night, Internet. And I'll see you all in the future.
Aw.
Aww.
Oh, Darren.
Wow.
Yeah, it's weird.
That What's Up Internet was nice to hear.
The best, he was the only one of us that actually had a catchphrase.
Yeah.
And yet we tried, and it just never came off.
No.
So piggybacking off of the last question, I was going to ask this, but Julie just asked it. When did Darren join the podcast?
I think it was around episode 13 or 14. He was supposed to join us one week, and Tracy and I were violently ill upstairs, and we had to put off recording.
That was fun.
So it was around that time, because he came on, he did a trip report, and then he came on because we knew he was a big Halloween Horror Nights fan. He came on and covered Halloween Horror Nights 21 for us that year. And then, like I say, when Hunter left, it was like, we know Darren, we know he loves the parks, get him in. And that's how it went. Mm-hmm. But talking about what Darren was talking about there, yeah, definitely. The annual pass holder program at Universal is... They have done everything that Disney haven't done.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Like the free magnets, the free pins.
Yep.
It's just 2 daft little things that you don't have to do, but people go mental for them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, even their social media page it could be frustrating at times.
Yes.
But I think they do a really good job over there. I remember when I first started joining that page, there was an admin, Jessica something.
Right.
And she was the admin of the page, and she would interact with you. It was really cool. It's like almost like interacting with somebody from Universal.
Yeah.
And then when she stepped down, it was can't remember his name right now.
Not Matt Korn.
Matt Korn, the Korn Man.
Yep.
Yeah. I just think it was really cool to have those voices coming out from Universal as opposed to
corporate.
I think the Disney page is just here it is. That's it. No interaction kind of thing. Yeah. So it was a nice little change.
Yeah. Well, and they're funny, like they interact in funny ways, and they're a little cheeky, it's nice.
Some of the best things they do is actually, if you go between Universal and the Halloween Horror Nights Twitter, some of that stuff's hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, like when Matt was there, they haven't done it so much now, but when Matt was there, they really embraced that fan community as well, where they started to realize that there is a value in podcasts, there is a value in vloggers and bloggers and all the rest of it. And I think they've come on leaps and bounds since that, because Disney don't seem to do that as much. I know I'm going to feel like people will be like, oh, here's Lee ragging on Disney again. It's what I do. But I feel that Universal do embrace it more than Disney do.
They do. And I don't know if that's because it's not as many people as we have over at Disney in the pass holder realm. Like it's more manageable in the Universal side. I don't know. But regardless, it's awesome. And even a little tidbit from the travel agent perspective, they also, the travel agent side of Universal also has their own Facebook pages and social media accounts and things where they're constantly in contact with us behind the scenes as well when it comes to educating us so that we can, be up on top of everything to book vacations and stuff. They're just, as a whole, both on the pass holder side, the consumer side, as well as on the travel agent side, they really just ramped up their social media interactions, and it's been phenomenal. It really has.
Yeah, and then like Darren said as well with the events have got bigger and better every year. Mardi Gras, Tracy and I were talking about it today. Literally, as the day of recording, Universal have extended Mardi Gras again till May 2nd. And it shows you how, like we've talked about before, that Universal should do like an Epcot food and wine thing. And they've done it this year, and it's been an absolute smash. Yeah. And I hope that they take the success of this and try and incorporate it into Mardi Gras when Mardi Gras goes back to normal.
That would be nice.
Because you two have both been and experienced it this year and had nothing but great things to say about it.
It was awesome, for sure.
I loved it. Now put that together with the real Mardi Gras and...
Chris will be double fisting on the parade floor and he's like, how am I supposed to throw beads? Right, moving on. I've called the next group contributors. So people you will have heard on the show that have contributed. I mean, that's a surprise, isn't it? And the first one was our rumour person for a long time. She is like the rumour queen at this point. And that is the awesome Alicia Stella.
Automatic targeting systems active. Laser designators active. Congrats on 10 years of the podcast. That is incredible. And I am so honored to have been a part of it in any way. As far as Universal and the last decade, they not only changed what they were doing, but I think they changed what the industry does. Ever since Harry Potter, one IP for a land, no longer a hodgepodge fantasy land, but one IP per land, is the lasting legacy of Universal Orlando. I think Comcast has done a lot of good with the parks. Sure, there have been some misses along with the hits. Fast and Furious. On the whole, I think they've gotten a lot of really great stuff. And even with the mouse kind of backing down the street, Universal and Comcast are going full blast forward into the future. The future. Laser designators active. Prepare to fire. Love you guys.
That was cool.
Alicia's awesome. I'm glad she did that, because that when we had her on to do the T2 tribute, and
awesome.
I was like, oh my God, you are so perfect for this. What we want you for.
That was such a fun time.
Yeah, Alicia's awesome. I don't even know how we ended up meeting her, to be honest.
Not a clue.
No.
Not a clue. Happy accident, I guess.
Yeah. But as far as like one IP per land, you definitely don't. You look at Disney and that's Pandora. You wouldn't get, without the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, you don't get Pandora, you don't get Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah, they changed the game for everybody.
They really did.
They really did.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Even looking over at Universal Hollywood, I know it's still Universal, but Universal Hollywood was always a bit of a mess. And now even they're going down that route in the limited space they've got. They've got Hogsmeade, you get Super Nintendo World, and then even with like Super Silly Funland, Despicable Me. I mean, if you look at it, what's rumoured for Epic Universe, it's that whole thing again.
Can't wait. Yeah. Can't wait for Epic Universe. Oh my God.
I know.
I guess the only downside of that is I don't think we're going to see as many cool, original lands that we would have seen prior.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, which is sad. It's good and it's bad, right? Because you get IPs that you want to live, and you can live those fantasies out inside your favorite theme park. But then you also don't get some really cool, creative ideas going out there, creating your original theme lands. I mean, I could be wrong, and Epic Universe could maybe do something, or, they kind of did it with Volcano Bay, right? That's all original kind of thing. But yeah, it's both good and bad.
I agree with you. You're right. It is a double-edged sword that because of like IP sell now, you only have to look at Halloween Horror Nights. What was the last non-IP attraction that either Disney or Universal built? Expedition Everest? Or in Orlando, let's say.
Rip Ride Rocket? That's the only one I can think of.
Asta. Yeah.
No, Rip Ride Rocket. When was Expedition Everest? Was I don't know, actually.
Yeah, Rip Ride may be the latest.
Yeah.
I think you might be right.
Oh, you're going to have to ride it then, Michelle.
No.
You can't be a theme park podcast,
Keep your enemies close.
About Universal and go, I haven't ridden the last non-IP attraction that was put into an Orlando big theme park. Disgusting.
I like IPs though. Like part of the reason why I love Universal so much and Disney, but Universal especially, is because of the immersion. I like being put into my favorite movies and things that I'm obsessed with. Walking into Diagon Alley and being a part of the Harry Potter universe is amazing. I like that. I prefer that over just some random roller coaster that has no story behind it. But
so
I know I'm not everybody.
Movies, right?
Yeah.
But then look at Disney.
I do.
Like Pirates of the Caribbean.
I agree, John. No thanks.
Like I still adore that, and that's the other way around. You don't get those movies without that ride. And everyone,
that's true.
Like everyone loves
Haunted
Pirates
Mansion.
Of the Caribbean. Haunted Mansion, exactly. Yeah, that was the other one. I couldn't think of that one. Yeah, the Haunted Mansion is amazing.
There's even though those stories were created, I guess, kind of after the ride, there's still a story. Rip Ride, there's no story. It's just a thrill.
Yeah, well, we know
so
that.
I like things that have a story behind it.
So I guess Rip Ride would be the one exception where they're just like, just put it there.
I think the thing was,
hostas.
at the
if
time,
you build it, they will come.
It was a case of just putting something in the park to boost it a little bit, and why not put a roller coaster in?
It's cool for the skyline, I guess.
No, it's awful for the skyline, in fairness. If you look at Universal Studios Florida coming across from Men in Black, and you've got that big thing, it's horrendous. At night, it's cool.
I think you're right, though. You just mentioned something about throwing a roller coaster inside of Universal, because as a kid growing up and going to the parks all the time, Universal was kind of like that. There wasn't enough thrill rides for me, right? Uh-huh. When I was at that age where you want to just ride thrill ride, Islands of Adventure came around, and you're like, come on. Why would I go to Universal when I can go to Islands of Adventure?
Yeah. You
have all these cool roller coasters. You got water rides. You got all this awesome stuff there. So, I mean, to your point, Lee, I think probably they threw it in there just to add some more thrill and adventure inside that park.
Relatively cheaply. Anyway, moving on.
Yes, moving on.
We will move on to, he wasn't a co-host, but he was on quite a lot, and we're going back quite a while, and that is Eric Davis.
Hello, Lee and Tracy. It's me, Eric Davis. If you remember me from the good old mice chat days, bad old mice chat days, I'll leave it up to you. But just want to share my thoughts on the past 10 years. Incredible things have happened over the past 10 years at the Universal Orlando Resort. I remember when Diagon Alley opened and just the incredible high that we all experienced exploring that land for the first time. Obviously riding the rides, taking in the shops, the details, everything. And then how befuddled we all were when Jimmy Fallon opened. We're like, well, no one has a perfect record. And then how incredibly confused we were when Fast and Furious opened. It wasn't Fast or Furious. But regardless of those two things, you look at Kong Skull Island and how incredible it is. You look at everything else, obviously, they've done and how incredible it is. I don't want to be a negative Nancy. But it's been an incredible journey. And obviously, there's so much more to look forward to at the resort. Obviously, with all the hotels that have, that are opening. You look at the way they're going to expand the property in the resort. And you're looking at these new lands that are coming. It's a bright, beautiful future. And obviously, there's another 10 years worth of content coming. So I wish you all the best. And I look forward to another 10 years of the Unofficial Universal Podcast.
Oh, I haven't spoken to Eric in such a long time.
It's so nice to hear his voice.
Was putting this together. It was actually really good to connect with a lot of people I haven't spoken to in such a long time.
Yeah.
I think that is going to be the legacy of the last 10 years of Universal Orlando, is putting them in a position financially to really go at the Orlando market and build Epic Universe.
Yeah.
Everything they have done has brought in the money for them to do what they are doing and what they will continue to do in the next 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very true. When I first went to Universal as an adult, which was almost almost 7 years ago now, it wasn't really a thought about staying on property. Like, that wasn't as big a deal as it is when you go to Disney, and them really building this to be a destination, an all-inclusive type destination with everything in one spot, so you don't feel like you need to stay at Disney and just hop over for a day. Making it its own place has really evolved tremendously over the past 7 years since I've been a part of this universe. But I think that's just going to be a game changer continuously, especially with Epic Universe. Please bring a Harry Potter hotel. Please bring a Harry Potter hotel.
I know, that would be amazing.
Yeah, we've started. I don't know whether it's because of the podcast, because obviously we feel like we should stay at these hotels, but I'm starting to get to a point where I want to stay on property more and more.
Good. You should.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You should.
It's a totally different experience, and I can't. People don't understand that until they do it. Once they do it, they're like, "Oh, okay, you're right. I get it now." So it's amazing. It's not like at Disney, where even though you're staying on property, you still might have a 20-minute bus ride to the parks.
Yeah.
Universal, it really is. You really do feel like you're in a bubble, and it's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there are some great hotels.
Yeah, I'm so desperate to stay at Sapphire Falls. And depending on whether our October trips goes ahead this year or next year, Dockside I'm really looking forward to. Portofino one day, maybe.
Yes.
So we can join Michelle in the 1% group.
I keep telling you, if it's cheap.
Us lowly folk.
If it's cheap for me to go by myself, I will happily do a solo trip.
Yeah.
You can try it. You can stay in my room, Tracy.
There you go.
What the hell? Anyway, moving on.
Lee, you can stay with me down the street at the hotel.
I appreciate that, Chris. We'll have more fun down there. It's cheaper. We'll have more money to spend on food and stuff.
Exactly.
Joking. I'm spending all your money. You'll have none.
Moving on. A voice again we haven't heard for a very long time, who was used to do a little segment called On Location.
Oh,
which
thank
I
you,
really
Ali.
liked.
I have a PR friend that can help book a hotel. Yeah.
And that is Mr. Gregory Ryan.
Hey everyone, Gregory here. The last 10 years at Universal Orlando Resort has brought massive changes, and I've been lucky enough to have a front row seat for many of them. Thinking over it, I keep coming back to the overhauls of food throughout the parks and City Walk, led by Chef Steve Jason. Every new offering in City Walk has been better than the last. And as we've seen most recently with the greatly expanded Mardi Gras food offerings and tribute store treats, food is coming to the forefront of everything the resort is doing. And the alternative dining options like vegan and vegetarian options continue to improve. I just can't wait to see what 2031 is going to look like.
That sounds crazy.
Whoa, that's scary, actually. Wow.
And we actually got to see Cinematic Celebration with Gregory when we were over last February, didn't
lovely.
we?
Yeah.
Yeah, the food at the resort has come on leaps and bounds. I think back to our trips prior to doing the podcast, and there was nowhere you were like, I have to eat there. Like City Walk for definite.
Yeah.
This year's Mardi Gras was a testament to that. I mean, the food was
so good.
It was so good. It was, I literally was talking to a friend who's planning to go up there, and he's like, I've never been before. And I was like, hey, just go buy 2 lanyards. Just go eat all you want.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, their food there. I mean, obviously everything's not the best in the world, but they kill some areas there. Like for me, I've said this before, Strongwater Tavern, Sapphire Falls. I know you had an experience with some of the food, but to me, and I tell people, it is like top 3 restaurants / tapas bar, whatever you want to call it, I've ever been to. Not at Universal, not in Orlando, anywhere.
Wow.
Like
high praise.
Service, drinks, food. Yeah. And I give it to them. And Alexa feels very strongly about that too. We just have such a great time there every time. And that's crazy to come from a theme park hotel.
Yeah.
So, you know.
It really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you look at like City Walk is definitely where the things have come on leaps and bounds. We go now and it's like, where do you eat? Big Fire, Antojitos.
Not enough days in the vacation to eat
Yes.
anywhere.
There's so many.
We still haven't eaten a Vivo yet. For all we had a bad time at Toothsome last time, I still really want to go back. In fact, Jade's holding me hostage that if we don't go and get a milkshake next time we go, she's never going to speak to me again.
Although, thanks to you, Chris, Tochos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they were good.
Yes, they were.
But even still, Fast Food
Nachos.
Boulevard, still really good. I actually do want to try the food out at Monsters Cafe. You look at the RIP tour, the stuff we had in Cafe La Bamba was really good. The stuff at Scare Actor Dining was awesome.
It's really good.
But like you said, Chris, it's still a theme park and you're still going to have that burgers and fries and stuff because people sometimes, they just need something to grab quick, refuel, and on you go.
Do you know what? For an in-park grab-and-go place, Today Cafe is outstanding. That is restaurant quality grab-and-go food.
I adore that place.
Yes, me
It
too.
is.
I wonder what I like best.
It is probably the place we've eaten at the most in the last, I would possibly say the last 10 years, and it's only been open for about a year, like 2 years or something. I adore the place.
Yeah.
Julie Klein says Universal missed a trick with no character meals, etc. in the parks. Disney must make a fortune on that. And we've said that before too.
Yes.
Yeah.
That they really, that is such a huge moneymaker over at Disney. And it shocks me that Universal hasn't picked up on that more than they do.
I've said before, when we took the kids in 2009, we did the one at Confisco Grill, and it was Spider-Man, Cat in the Hat, Thing 1 and Thing 2. I think there was somebody else, and the food was phenomenal. The character interaction was amazing.
It's still one of my favourite all-time meals, that.
And then we did the Superstar character breakfast over at Cafe La Bamba.
It's all right.
like
It wasn't
4
as
years
good.
later. It was all right. But yeah, it's not something they've ever really managed to make stick. Even they did that Marvel dinner, didn't they, recently over at Cafe 4, and even that never really stuck.
I went to that one, remember?
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah, for
and
the podcast.
You said it was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't, amazing. It was cool to see the characters there, and it was great that they're all like interactive characters that would talk to you. But yeah, it wasn't anything that like blew me away. Still waiting to do the Grinch one. Every time I try to go and do it, it's sold out. I always do it too late.
Next year.
So this year is going to be the year. We're going to do it this year. And I know Alexa's listening right now, so I'm on the hook for that. Especially, I'm on the hook for 1,000 things right now. So,
little tip, Chris, with it just being the two of you, it's pretty easy for you to walk up, even if there aren't any tickets available online.
Yes, because
it's pretty easy to walk up, and they'll most likely let you in.
Okay, well,
that Chris and I did that, not this past year, but the year before.
When it was sold out.
It was completely sold out, but we walked up, since it was just two of us and us being AP holders, we walked up and said, hey, you have room for the two of us. And they took us right in.
She showed the AP pass in her Portofino hotel. They're like, come on in.
She's got money to burn.
I don't know.
No, I gotta, I'm going to try this year to do it way ahead of time, but that's a good tip. I will keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably wouldn't work if you have like a family of 6.
Yeah.
You walk up with your brood of strollers and everything.
I don't
but
even know
2
that many
people.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Minion breakfast that they used to have was really good. I've done that one a few times and I enjoyed it. I don't know why it went away.
Was that at Royal Pacific, Michelle?
Sapphire, wasn't it?
Hard Rock?
I did it at Royal Pacific the first time I did it, and then I did it at Sapphire the next time I did it.
Was it like luau themed, right? Weren't they dressed up as that, or is that a different?
Not the time that I did it.
Okay, all right.
Anyway, moving on.
Kelly Woods chimed in and said the whole resort's gotten way better for food allergies over the years too. Long gone are the days of packing all of her food for every trip.
Yes, I know Kelly has some issues, so yes, definitely.
And vegetarian and vegan options are.
Unless you've got a fussy vegetarian who won't eat mushrooms, because they're apparently
won't eat vegetables or anything.
Anyway,
if I was a vegetarian.
Yeah, moving on. Another contributor. We haven't heard her for quite a while, actually. Tracy's like, who is it? The lovely Maureen Deal.
Hi, this is Maureen Deal with Autism at the Parks. First, I'd like to say congratulations to the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast on your 10 years of providing excellent information, tips, and experiences to your listeners. I've noticed that Universal has evolved in the last 10 years in several areas. One of the areas is that it appeals to more guests, not just coaster enthusiasts. There's something for everyone in the family. This includes better rides like Escape from Gringotts and Hagrid's Ride, and even Fast and Furious. Also, there are many more hotels that are affordable yet aren't cheap in style and aesthetics, especially Cabana Bay. And finally, another aspect that I've noticed that has evolved over the last 10 years is there's better options for dining, especially in City Walk. Most of these restaurants have reasonable pricing and excellent service and great food. And congratulations again, UUOP, on 10 excellent years.
That's a good point, actually, she's just brought up, that none of the restaurants are expensive.
No, that's very true.
So I remember going in 2013 and eating at Mythos with Darren and Eric and the kids, and Darren was always put off going to Mythos because it's like, oh, it's Mythos, it's the best theme park restaurant for 200 years running, and it's like this out of reach thing. And we went, and he was like, that wasn't anywhere near as expensive as I thought it was.
Yeah. Oh, I'm still waiting for my drink.
That is so true. I would never go there with like the family when I was younger, just because it's like, no, that's an upscale restaurant. We can't go there. I'm like, all right, let's pay $12 for a pizza over here then.
It really isn't expensive at all. Not. Anywhere on property.
No, it's great over there.
Yeah.
Oh, so nice to hear Maureen's voice, though. It's been too long. I really like Maureen.
Now, I would have agreed with Maureen's first comment about more to do at the resort for like a wider range of people. I think Universal at the beginning of the 2010s, I think they were gunning for that market of families. And I think they've realised that they can't compete with Disney at this point. And I think you look at Hagrid's, Kong, the Velocicoaster. That's right, Jeff, I said it. I think they've realised now that full family, like with kids market, isn't their thing. And why even try? Let Disney have it, and let's concentrate on what we do and what we do well.
Yeah.
Yep, they have specifically said that to us travel agents in our training sessions that, you know, this is not the place for, not that they can't come, you know, not that they're not welcome, but they're okay with the fact that this is not Disney. This is a different thing. So they're totally okay with that fact.
Yeah. By the way, there's a comment in here which literally was pulled straight from my mind. Jillian was like, "Oh, I miss Autism at the Park segments." And I think we need some updated ones for the most recent rides. That'd be awesome, Maureen.
Yes.
It was always fun to like hear her just talk about the ride, you know, give all the information about it, and then say if it was too wild for her or not. You know, it's like, this is not my style, but it's a good ride. Yeah. It was always it was very soothing for some reason.
Yeah, Maureen's awesome. I love Maureen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think Universal are going for that market at all. And I'm glad they aren't. I'm glad they're prepared to stand on their own 2 feet and say, do you know what, this is what we are. And if you don't like it, off you pop down the road.
Well, that's it. And the thing is, the whole of Orlando, the theme parks, would just be very samey if they all carried on doing the same stuff. So,
Yeah. And you can tell the difference in like the stroller parking areas too.
Yeah.
Like when you go to Universal, stroller parking is like 3 strollers. You go to Disney, it's like 300 strollers.
Yep.
Yeah, leave your kids at home. We don't want them. You don't want them.
Yeah, we don't want them.
You don't want them.
Found that out too late, but you know. What can you do?
You know, this is live. We can't take this back.
Oh, they know I'm kidding.
She's not.
Which is interesting because Universal has the better child swap system.
Well, yeah.
They didn't. We got the same one back.
I think it's because they realise that people want to go. And they're like, I'm not letting my kids hold me back. So kids, you just stay in the child swap rooms. We're still going to do stuff.
You watch the cartoons.
Or if maybe it's because there's not that many kids going, so they can handle that. Like if that was at Disney, there'd be like 700 parents waiting in a room to like swap on Everest.
That's probably very true.
Yeah.
Do you know what they need? At the front of the park, they need a kids' soft play area. You know, like an IKEA.
Like a creche.
As you go in and you drop the kids.
Like a child with childcare workers.
Yeah.
Well, if you want, but yeah.
I mean, she wasn't even going down that route. She just wanted to play.
Chuck them in the ball pit and off you go. There doesn't need to be supervision. Is that a word?
Extra deep ball pit. They'll never get out. You tried to get out of one of those things.
Anyway, moving on. The last of our...
Note to self, don't let Tracy babysit your kid.
Or let her babysit.
If you want rid of them. The last of our contributors, and who is a current contributor to the show. You hear him every week. Every other week, sorry. The awesome Seth Kabursky.
This is Seth Kaburski from the Unofficial Guides and All Little Things, and I simply cannot believe that it's been 10 years since the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast got started. A decade ago, the Wizarding World of Harry Potter Hogsmeade was only a few months old, and I honestly thought that the Universal Orlando Resort had reached its peak. I didn't really see how things could get that much better from there, but little did I know what we had in store for us. Diagon Alley and Volcano Bay, much less all the new hotels and the exciting things that are coming in the future. I've got to admit, I miss some of the little things about the old Universal back in the days where you could have the park almost all to yourself because there was so little attendance and could go and ride attractions like Jaws. But overall, I'm amazed at the way the resort has grown and the way the podcast has grown right along with it.
Aww. I've just seen in the comments there, Julie's asked, when did Seth start contributing? I don't know.
It's been
I remember
a long time.
finding Seth when I was looking for people to have on the show, when he was writing the guidebooks for Universal before he joined Touring Plans, before they were the unofficial guides. And we had him on then, and then he came back, and I think he did the walk with Darren for Hogsmeade because it was just before we were going to the parks, and I didn't want any spoilers.
Yeah.
But as far as little, like we had him on every year, we used to have him and Jim Hill on quite regularly to talk about new stuff. As far as little things, a couple of years at this point, I think.
It's got to be over 3-4 years.
Really?
Wow. It's a staple now.
Yeah, because I was hearing him do little things before I was even on the show.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah. And I would laugh because there would be like jokes about like how many additional things that, you know, he would add himself to that he's working on. Before I was even on the show, and I would crack up at that. I was like, yeah, but we always look forward to little things.
Yeah, I love
still look forward to it.
Yeah.
That's one of those things I can still enjoy on the show because I can hear it.
Yes.
Because it's one of those things that there are so many little things happening in the parks constantly that we can't keep up on that. And that's, who knows that better than Seth?
Yeah. He's an awesome person as well.
He is. He's become...
That's ticket holder number one right there.
He has,
it is, yes. Yeah.
Like he's become a part of the team. You know, he was part of the Weekender, doing the Seekender.
And I was going to say, I'll be forever grateful to him when I all of a sudden dried up in Zeus Landing. And he stepped in and gave some additional facts. And he had my back, and it was awesome.
Well, even so, when we were there, and I think it was right after the Grinch or the tour that you were doing in Zeus Landing, where we rode Cat in the Hat.
Yes.
And it was me, Darren, Quincy, and Seth. And we're just riding. And Seth was awesome because while you're going through there, he's like an encyclopedia. So he's telling you little facts about little things throughout the park. And I was just there absorbing it. And I'm like, okay, just keep on going. I want to hear them all.
Like he's got to know more about those parks than anybody at this point.
God, yeah.
And the fact that he still has a passion for it, having to scrutinize it constantly to write those books.
Yes. And while we're live, I do need to say that when I see you, Seth, I do owe you a drink because I realised that I never replaced the drink of the glass that I smashed. I woke up in the middle of the night the other day, went, oh my God, I didn't do it. So I owe you a drink, Seth.
Yes, for those that don't know, when we were in Strongwater for our little mini meetup last February, Tracy smashed Seth's glass.
I hadn't been drinking. Vicious
oh my
rumor.
gosh.
Oh, she had. Okay. Moving on. Two new contributors to our show. A part of our new Halloween Horror Nights podcast, Rush of Fear. So first up, we have Maddie Willett.
Hi, Lee and Tracy. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? 10 whole years of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I can't even believe it. I know I haven't been here for all 10 years of it, but I've listened to every single episode, so I feel like I have, you know? But I just wanted to say congratulations to you guys. And honestly, thank you so much for deciding to create this podcast, because with this podcast, you guys have created such an amazing community and family of people who are all interested in one thing, and that is Universal Orlando Resort. It's really fantastic how that happened, and we are so happy that you guys did create the podcast and that turned into such a beautiful community. Thoughts on the past 10 years of Universal? Well, I mean, I've been going to Universal since I think I was like 9 years old, and it has changed
She's only
so
12.
much in that time. But in the past 10 years alone, I mean, look at what we lost, but also look at what we gained. Like, we obviously lost amazing rides like Jaws and Disaster, but we gained rides like Transformers and both the Harry Potter sections. And, you know, Universal is constantly changing. There are things that are happening every single day that change the park, especially now, you know, with COVID and everything that's happened. That has changed the park so much. And with this new park coming, who knows? Who knows what other changes are going to be happening inside Universal Studios. But yeah, I can't wait to see what happens. Can't wait for the next 10 years of this podcast. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to host Rush of Fear. It has been so fun already, and I'm so excited for this Halloween Horror Nights season. But yeah, okay, I think that's it. Congrats, guys. Love you so much.
Oh, Maddie.
Oh, that was so Maddie.
My best memory of Maddie is still on our RIP tour. It was about 10 to 2 in the morning. We'd just come out of spending probably half an hour in the tribute store. And I turned round and Tracy's legging past me. I'm like, where the hell is she going? And the next thing, her and Maddie are proper rough hugging each other in the corner.
That's me girl.
Yeah, Maddie's awesome.
She's the sweetest.
Oh. She is, and she's right on about the community you guys have created.
Yeah.
You know, I'm constantly reminding Lee that he is loved, and that this thing that he does, that he puts so much work into, is not just about Universal at all. It's about this community, this family of people that he has created and brought together, and he can't stop now because the family relies on you, you know, and Maddie is one of those. Maddie is somebody that I met up with at the opening of Hagrid's and did not know who she was other than the fact that she's in the Producers Club. And we waited all day in line for 8 hours together, and, you know, even took a nap on each other's shoulder waiting in line. And then every time I go to Universal now, I happen to run into her on the water taxis, and it's awesome. So it's been great. Even though I'm a host now and it's surreal still, I still have to say that, you know, thank you to Lee, because it's not just about us, really. The family is amazing.
It's a good job my camera's zoomed out as far as it is at this point.
Softy.
So she's only been going for 3 years then. She started when she was 9.
She just posted the other day that
you can slap him when
they're
you see
hiring
him,
for a yacht captain.
Yes,
so I was like,
did see that.
Can I moonlight?
Get on it, Chris. I must admit, I nearly shared it.
I would love to do that job.
Would be awesome.
I could so see you doing that, Chris.
Do you know what? Yes.
That's it. I'm quitting today.
No, you would be awesome, Chris. Like, you know how everyone talks about that skipper we had, the one that plays as everyone's singing on the boat. That's Chris. That is Chris.
Yeah.
Like, the most social person I know is a perfect job for you, Chris.
If you're nice to the captain, you may get some juice on the boat too. So, you know.
Yeah.
And then when I was gonna spoil something for the weekend there, but I won't. Shh, don't say anything.
Sorry, I've forgotten anywhere.
Anyway, moving on. That was only we've got one here, and we just saw one there. So of course we have to round it out with Kenneth.
Hello, this is Kenneth from Rush of Fear and from the vlogs. And when I think about how much Universal has changed over the last 10 years, it's really incredible, because it's basically gone from the immediately post Harry Potter version of the park and then grown just basically Universal as we know it today has happened in the last 10 years. And all thanks to, well, some might say thanks to Harry Potter, but I'll give the credit to you guys.
Aww.
It's all thanks to you. Congratulations, you guys. We've seen the resort grow so much. So many hotels, new attractions, a whole new park is coming. The resort has changed so much. It's gotten so much better. And you guys have been right there covering it, shining the light on it. And it's really incredible. And congrats to you guys for being here for so long. It's been awesome.
Oh, I love Kenneth. Kenneth's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is Harry Potter at the end of the day, isn't it? I think that's the one thing you've got to thank for where Universal is right now, because without that, they wouldn't be on the map where they are. Can you imagine if Disney had have gotten it?
No. It would
not be the same.
It would have really hurt Universal, I'll tell you that much.
Massively.
Yes, yeah.
Because Universal was struggling.
And it wouldn't have been the same.
No.
No,
absolutely not.
Well, I think it's out there what Disney were wanting to do with it. And they wanted to do like a Care of Magical Creatures, something or other. And it was like really pap.
Wasn't there like an Expedition
so,
Everest
Jonathan.
or Expedition Forgotten, something like that YouTube channel that did the whole thing on it?
Yes.
It was really weird.
Yeah. And then Universal, but it's like Universal went to JK and went, basically, you do what you want to do. We trust your judgment. And that's always the thing, that when Universal get the people in that created that thing and do what they do by creating amazing themed lands, but be led by the person that created that thing in the first place, that's when Universal are at their best.
Yep.
Then you look at Diagon Alley, you look at Hogsmeade. I'm going to struggle to come up with anything other than that at the moment.
Fast and Furious.
It is a struggle because it is a double-edged sword, because it does seem to be that the two Potter lands do get the most attention. But then I think if you look at Velocicoaster now, I guess that's maybe not so much, because that thing looks amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, as time passes and new rides get created, you'll start deviating a little bit from that. But at the end of the day, the bread and butter is Harry Potter in those parks. And we know that. I think with Epic Universe, we're going to see a huge shift in a different direction. You'll obviously have your Potters, right? Bringing in the money. But then you're going to get some other awesome, lands, even Monsters Land, if we get that as it's supposed to be, that'd be, you have your whole separate crowd that, are fanatics with that would go to that. So it just takes time, right? But at the end of the day, how much money was it they made on Butterbeer again?
I think they made something like
just a few.
I think they made the money that they spent on the land back in something like 5 years in Butterbeer sales alone.
Crazy.
Which is mental.
Even the wands. Like I literally found a wand in when we were moving. I found a wand that I bought when the land first opened, and it was $19.99. Like it was price tag is still on there. It's not interactive.
Oh, I thought you were saying the land opened in 1999. I'm like,
no. Like the price was like $20, something like that.
Yeah, they're
cheap.
not that now.
I don't know how much are the non-interactive wands.
Like
40, I think,
40,
and the interactive are 50.
Yeah, so it's insane. And how many wands do they sell every day?
Yeah, and people with the cloaks on and everything.
But at the end of the day, I'm happy for it, because if we didn't have that, right? Like I'm a huge fan of the land. Obviously, I'm not a nerd like you, Lee, that reads everything twice.
I've read it more than twice.
He calls me out all the time, right?
I do.
But if it wasn't for that, we would not have what we have now and what we're going to have in the next few years. So Potter on, man. Potter on.
Right. I'm all for it. I love Potter. Potter is to Universal what princesses are to Disney.
Yeah.
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 And that's okay. I don't go to Disney to meet the princesses, but hey, if that's what brings the money to them so that they can keep creating cool things that I like, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Like if you're not a Potter fan, you still got to appreciate for what it is, because that's what pays the bills for everything else that you do like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you're not a Potter fan, walk inside Diagon Alley, get lost, and never find the exit like I did.
It took him 2 years to find the entrance. I love that about you, Chris.
Like, look at this train station. This is dumb.
Look, it wasn't just you. They were putting barkers out the front of it to let people know the Diagon Alley's this way. That is mental to me. Right, before we take our usual ad break, we've got one last little clip to play, and that is, I've called this one Partners, but I'm going to pass it over to our good friends Nikki and Gabriel from the Theme Park Duo.
Hey everybody, it's Gabe
and Nikki
from the Theme Park Duo. And we also have Aaron here. Say hi, Aaron.
Hey, Jen.
And we want to congratulate you guys on such a huge milestone. Happy anniversary to UUOP.
Yeah.
Really, really happy for you guys. We love you so much. And we wanted to kind of give our thoughts on how has Universal evolved over time. And I think a lot of it really can revolve around the one idea of media-based attractions.
Yeah, and how they've dealt with that and incorporated their IPs into attractions throughout the years.
Yeah, exactly. And originally it was kind of more, we see rides like The Amazing Adventures of Spider-Man where that media is mixed so well with practical sets.
And then E.T. where it's all practical.
Yes. But I mean, going to rides like Fast and Furious Supercharged where the entire experience is solely based on pretty much media. So it's interesting how they've evolved from how they've used media. And at this point, listening to the audience and realizing, okay, well, the attraction doesn't need to be the media as much as the attraction needs to be supported by that media. Because it really seems like all their rides that use it in that way are enhanced as opposed to just being a screen that you're looking at the entire time.
I think that they've grown with the technology that's been available at the time. And I think that that's really exciting for what is potentially to come in the future. So I'm excited.
Yeah, I'm really excited about the future of Universal Orlando Resort's attractions. So thank you again for having us on the show. And we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
That's an interesting point about media-based attractions.
Yeah.
I think they did it with Forbidden Journey and Gringotts and went, this is awesome. We can do anything we want. And then really doubled down on it. Or Transformers as well. And then really doubled down on it and did Fallon.
Notice.
However you like it or not. Personally, I do. And then Fast and Furious. Fallon.
Oh, Fast and Furious.
Yeah. And then Fast and Furious. And then really got a revolt of like, yeah, we don't want this anymore. I can sit and watch this at home on the TV. And then you look at what they've done since.
Mm-hmm.
So Bourne, it's not about the media, but the media enhances it. Hagrid doesn't have any media in it at all, I don't think. But the pre-show, I suppose, but the actual ride itself. Same with Velocicoaster. From what we see, there are screens in the queue from what we can see, or potentially in the show building. But it's there to enhance, not to be the focus. And I think they've learned along the way that it's not about the media, like Nikki and Gabe both said. It's not about that. It's about using that to make it better. Like for me, Forbidden Journey is the perfect amalgamation of that physical and screen-based thing.
Yeah. I guess they had to get slapped on their hand real quick just to make sure that they didn't continue down that path. But I think they learned. I think they got, like you said, a big backlash from Fast and Furious. Whether you like it or don't like it, but that ride is terrible. And shout out to Creative though. I love you guys.
That's the problem. I don't think Creative was involved too much in that one. It was just like, let's clone.
All the bean counters made that one. They're like, yep.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I think they're heading back in the right direction. They're on the right track right now to pump out rides that have a mixture of it, right? You don't need to go completely physical. You don't have to go completely, CGI. You can have a nice mixture of them. I mean, even Escape from Gringotts, even though it's primarily, screen-based, there's a lot of parts of that ride that they were able to use physical and screen together to like fuse it and make it such a nice experience there. And you can still use that in rides in the future. Just do it right. Do a balance. I think that's what you need.
I mean, you look at Super Nintendo World with Super Mario Kart, like that's the next evolution of screen-based stuff. And I was actually quite impressed of how much that was physical for a ride that is pretty much, it's augmented reality, yet the actual, I think you would quite happily ride that ride without the goggles on, and it still looks pretty cool. Just treat it as a dark ride.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting to see how much screens are implemented in what goes into Epic Universe. That's going to be the big tell, I think.
Yeah. So long as it's balanced. I mean, you can't blame them for finding a win with the heavily screen-based attractions.
Oh,
going and running with it. You do that until you get the masses going, enough now. And then you change tack.
And then you also have like the scenario where they use screens because the money's not there to do things, right? We go back to Transformers, where there should have been a full-size Optimus Prime, which would have been amazing. We all know that. Nobody thinks it would not have been amazing, but to keep that, the money involved in creating that and keeping that alive and keeping it going would have been astronomical as opposed to what they were trying to do. They're filling a building there. They're putting a ride in a space that's very small, and they are replicating, this other ride over here. And they're just, trying to do the best they can. And I think they hit it there. So balance, give and take.
They probably looked at what the Yeti is at Expedition Everest and went, we don't want to become the butt of theme park fans' jokes when our animatronic doesn't work, especially with it being...
but the Kong...
But then they came out with Kong.
Yes, that's true.
The Kong is incredible, though. Oh, my God.
It is.
But technology, right? Technology, different time periods, what's there, how cheap technology is. You have Moore's Law. Everything gets cheaper the longer the time period goes, all that fun stuff. So,
yeah. I was going to say, to be fair, though, I do think that Optimus Prime would dance disco better than the Yeti.
That is probably true. He could do the robot better.
Rhythm. Ha. That was funny for you. Wow.
Right, we are going to take a quick ad break for those listening to hear from our sponsors.
Have you taken a stroll down Diagon Alley and visited Gringotts Bank? Taken a ride through New York with Jimmy Fallon? Visited the Truffalo Trees in Seuss Landing or hung out with a real-life Transformer? No? Then what are you waiting for? At Universal Orlando Resort, there truly is an option for everyone. Or if you're leaning a little more towards pixie dust rather than wands and potions, Disney destinations around the globe await your arrival. No matter the adventure, our sponsors have you covered. Be sure to let the experts at Mouse and Muggle Travel Company take care of all your travel needs, earning the distinction of being an earmarked agency specializing in Disney destinations, as well as becoming one of the first to be named a You Preferred agency with Universal Parks and Resorts Vacations. Mouse and Muggle Travel Company will ensure you receive top-rated customer service. Just visit mouseandmuggle.com to fill out a no-obligation quote request, or send your request to info@mouseandmuggle.com. Their team can take care of you no matter where in the world you want to go. With a flick of their wand and a little bit of pixie dust, the process will be so seamless, some might even say it's simply magical.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. This is our 10-year anniversary of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast, and we're going to move on to the next group of clips. And I reached out to the people who I have had on as part of my Rides That Made Me segments. So I'm going to reach back into the very first one I did, and we're going to hear from the lovely Adam Bizark.
Hey guys, this is Adam Bizark wishing you a huge and hearty congratulations on 10 years, what, of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. That's an incredible achievement, and you guys have hosted some of the most interesting conversations in the theme park industry. The biggest change for me in the last 10 years has been the disappearance of a lot of the shows that I helped create at Universal. Ghostbusters was gone before you guys started. That became Twister in 1998. But you were around to say goodbye to the Jaws ride in 2012, which was wonderful. And the Real Heartbreaker T2 3D closed in 2017. But the wonderful thing about theme parks is they just keep on moving forward. We miss rides like Jaws, but Diagon Alley is amazing, and I love all the little tributes to Jaws hidden around the land. That adds to the legacy and the love. So congratulations, UUOP, and here's to 10 more years.
Adam's awesome. He was more interested in me rather than talking about himself. He's like, what do you do? Is this a job? Do you do this for real? Or is it just a hobby? And I'm like, I just want to get on with the interview, but okay, I'll tell you. It's just a hobby.
Oh, he's lovely.
Yeah, those former attractions. I miss Jaws so much.
Oh, man. What I would give for one more ride.
You just have to go to Japan, don't you?
I can do that.
She'll be gone quick.
Yeah.
Yes, she will.
I like what he said there. Theme parks move forward, by the way. That was.
Yes, they do, and they have to. Otherwise, they become boring.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have Disney. That's it.
Very true.
Just waiting for Robin to respond to that.
Yeah.
She's left.
But yeah, it's weird how I think there is a place to have that old and new, but unfortunately, Universal, being as landlocked as they are, they don't have that space that Disney have, and whereas Disney now have got the beauty of having those classics, like we said, Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean, Big Thunder Mountain, but then bring new stuff in like Tron when it comes to there, and obviously Ratatouille over in Epcot and Guardians of the Galaxy. Universal don't have that luxury.
Yeah. But who knows? Maybe in the future, they will have an upcharge ticket to ride an Oculus ride where you can re-ride your old rides that you love.
I mean, they should.
That would be awesome.
They should.
I wonder if you can
extremely doable.
Ride it on the Oculus right now. I guess not.
Find out
unless somebody's done it. You
podcast.
might be able to do the Japan one.
So I'm going to put it out there right now. Get rid of Shrek and just put in a 3D virtual ride the old movies.
That would be cool.
You've got the moving
That would
seats.
be awesome.
So just do that. Or The Simpsons.
Can it be 4D instead of 3D?
I mean, it could be 7D.
I got confused over this conversation the other day.
I cut most of that out so no one knows what you're talking about.
Oh, I wouldn't worry. I didn't know what we were talking about either.
All right, moving on. The next couple, then they are a couple, actually. I'll put that together. Our good friends, Andy and Catherine.
Oh!
Hey, UUOP. This is Andy DiGenova.
And I'm Catherine Cobbs.
And we wanted to send you a quick message to celebrate 10 years of the podcast. Lee was nice enough to ask us to chime in about our thoughts and feelings about how the Universal Orlando Resort has evolved in the past decade. So we're going to let ladies go first to talk about your thoughts.
Well, it's obviously been quite an evolution of growth and change and continues to be a major player in the Orlando market and develop new attractions around the world.
Yes, I agree. And yeah, I mean, it's really been awesome over the past 10 years to see how Universal Parks and Universal Orlando specifically has grown and just gotten more aggressive in its development, creating new attractions, new experiences, completely overhauling City Walk. It's always sad to see some old favorites go. That's always the downside of progress and moving forward. So of course, we're always sad when that happens, but it is great to see just how much passion and attention the company has been paying to the theme parks business, because what that does is it just creates more experiences, more competition in Central Florida, keeps Disney on their toes, which keeps Universal back on their toes, and it's really good for us as theme park guests. So really excited about that.
Yeah, we just hope ET never goes anywhere.
Yes, never get rid of the ET adventure.
Best ride ever.
Yes, so that's the caveat. We'll support and applaud for the progress, but leave ET alone. So, yeah, those are our thoughts. But we did want to congratulate you guys on 10 years of the podcast.
Congratulations, guys. That's quite an accomplishment, and we're so happy for you.
And so cool of the community and family you have built around the Universal Orlando Resort and the Universal Parks. So happy to be just a small part of that family.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
He has a voice that was meant to be on a podcast.
That's why he has about 4 of them.
Yeah.
I'll plug Holy Batcast. It is the DC podcast if that's what you want to listen to. Him, Jamie, and Brenton are amazing. Andy and Catherine are...
Oh, they're two of my favourite people in the entire world. Even though they are halfway around the world at the moment.
The thing what I found funny is how we met Andy was because we used to rag on Disney on the podcast. They used to, sorry, we still do now.
Yeah.
It turns out at the time he was an Imagineer for Disney and kept emailing in saying, I'm disgusted at how much you rag on Disney on your podcast.
Whoops.
I thought it was from the Minion fan fiction he would send.
Yes, but that is a good point. You know, it's not just Orlando that Universal are expanding into. You look at what Universal Beijing's going to be. That park looks, it's very much
exciting.
Similar to a lot of, it's kind of amalgamation.
You should go, Tracy.
Planning to.
Don't egg her on.
Hey, told you, I looked at flights the other day.
It very much looks like an amalgamation of a lot of stuff from the other parks, but it looks like a brand new theme park. How often do you see a brand new theme park? Not very often.
Nope.
And then like Hollywood's expanding massively. It's it's not Universal are doing way more than what is just going on in Orlando, and that speaks volumes to how well the Orlando theme parks are doing because they've seen there is money to be made in the theme park business.
Yeah. So are we starting different podcasts for each one, or
which one are you going to head up, Chris?
I'll do the Beijing one with Tracy. Just so I get a sponsor to send me out there.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool, actually. I remember a day when we used to cover all the other parks.
I was just thinking, yeah.
And then I was like, no, with the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast, let's get back to what we know.
Yeah.
Right, moving on. Someone, I don't think you were on this episode, Chris, but you've definitely spoken to him. But I've also done a ride that made me. And this is the awesome Justin Martin.
Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. It is me, Justin Martin. I just wanted to send over my congrats to you all for an incredible 10 years of podcasting and wishing you all the best for another 10. I'm so blessed to have been a part of this podcast in just a small fashion and can't wait to hopefully be back on again and talk about more fun things coming from Universal Orlando. And I have to say, really, just the best things that have come from Universal the last 10 years are the continual growth of incredible guest experiences, from obviously everyone's favorite Orlando water park, Volcano Bay, to Hagrid's Magical Creatures Motorbike Adventure. Velocicoaster looks amazing, and whatever is coming down the line for Epic Universe, I am hoping for another incredible 10 years, both from the parks, and can't wait to hear about those 10 years coming up from you guys here on the podcast.
Oh, Justin's awesome. Yeah.
He really is.
Oh,
I know he's done a
He's
lot of things,
so
but
sweet.
that's Mr. Volcano Bay to me.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I'm not a water park person. I said this to you, Michelle, when we went, but that place is
I'm going.
absolutely stunning.
I told you. I purposely took them on a tour of it because I didn't think I'd get them there otherwise. And yeah, sold them completely.
I hate water parks too, so if you ever want to take me, just let me know. I absolutely loathe them.
This one's great. It's a water theme park.
It is.
But it is, yeah. We haven't spoken about Volcano Bay yet when we talk about Universal Orlando in the last 10 years. How have we not talked about Volcano Bay?
Not as if you could miss it.
It's such a weird place. We've said for many times Universal, because they are in such a small space and they've had to really look at the space that they expand into, that they use that space so well. I've always said the prime example is the mini golf course. You know, that was, I think it was parking or something, and then they've managed to build
it was just
two, wasn't it valet parking? I think
wasteland?
valet parking used to be there, or the
I
bus
don't
parking
know.
or something. And put two 18-hole golf courses, mini golf courses in there that are amazing.
Yes.
Volcano
Yes,
Bay
they are.
is squidged in the middle of those parks up against I-4, and yet when you're in that park, you would swear that you are in the middle of a tropical island with nothing around you.
It's so good.
It feels
It's awesome.
huge.
It's so good. It feels, I don't want to say it, it feels way bigger than what it is.
It
but,
does.
You know, it unless you're on the top of a slide,
Yes.
then you can kind of see around. But once you're
Yeah.
in there, these guys did such a phenomenal job at squeezing this little area to feel like this giant park, because it does feel, you know, pretty big, and just taking you to a different place in your state of mind. And you're in the middle of the Everglades at that point, or the swamps, you know, in Orlando.
I mean, I-4 is literally right
there.
Right there.
And the bridge, you go under a highway or under a main road there just to get into the park. But they were able to get you across this road without you even knowing there's a road there. It's just light and these cool tunnels that you're going through. And they completely knocked that park, you know, out of the park. And I'm excited for the eventual future when they expand on those extra 5 acres of land that they have back there. I was hoping it was be right away, because, you know, I'll take more. But I can only imagine what they're going to do if they're going to wait a little bit longer, see what new technologies are out there, and make some really cool stuff. But yeah, Justin is awesome, and the work he did there was really good, and the entire other creative team that was working on that.
I mean, you talk about like going under the road and stuff. It's like, but it's not just getting you in there, like under the road. They've made that the whole experience getting into that park builds the story of you entering Volcano Bay. So you go under, and the music's playing and through that little tunnel, and then you're out into the entrance of Volcano Bay, and you go through there, and then that whole like tropical walkway up to you round the corner with that big reveal of the volcano. And it just, it's what Diagon Alley is for Universal Studios Florida. That reveal is Volcano Bay. It's amazing.
You're killing me right now,
really
man.
is.
No one's stopping you going, Chris.
I just renewed for 2 parks, not 3. So
what?
Chris won't go while COVID's going on.
I know. I have my
I don't
reasons.
blame him.
And if things change for a different direction of things, I will gladly pay for a single day ticket. So trust me, if I can go to that park and be free as I want to be, I will go to that park and pay for it, because I think it's that good of a park. As a pass holder, I will still pay for a single day ticket.
Wow. Cool. There, you heard it there first. That's a big recommendation there by Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. Right, the last one in this group is a good friend of mine, actually, Rick West.
Lee and Tracy and everybody at UUOP, it's Rick West from Midsummer Scream, formerly of Theme Park Adventure. Hey, I want to wish you guys a very happy 10th anniversary on the podcast. That's a huge thing to celebrate. It's not lost on me what an undertaking that is. So thank each of you for all that you do. It's a lot of hard work, and I'm sure that your fans around the world would agree the world's a better place to hear you guys yapping in our ears all the time. And I really do. I enjoy the podcast, and so thank you very much for that, and congratulations again. And thinking of how Universal Orlando Resort has changed since the last 10 years that you guys have been doing your thing, obviously it's Potter, and more Potter, right? So, them bringing on the Wizarding World of Harry Potter and the way that it has spread through its subsequent attractions at the resort really have set the watermark for the industry as well as the expectations of fans around the world. And so we applaud them for that, and we look forward to the new innovations and new attractions and experiences that they're bringing online in the not too distant future. So that's my thoughts on the resort. Also, obviously, they are a leader in the haunted attraction industry on the East Coast and in the South with Halloween Horror Nights there in Orlando. So that's I think that's how they've done their 10 years, and you guys do your 10 years. And you know what? I'm looking forward to 10 more years. How's that work on your plate? Get out here to LA so we can have a drink and some laughs. And you guys be safe, take care of one another, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Ricky's awesome. If you ever want to meet anyone that can talk more than I can, that is your man.
Never thought that would happen.
Put it this way, it got me through lockdown when I did that Rides That Made Me with Rick.
Yeah.
We had such a blast. He is awesome. But yeah, he brought up Halloween Horror Nights. How have we not talked about Halloween Horror Nights?
I know. It's like major.
Is it fun?
It's all right.
I've heard it can be.
It is the one thing
check it out.
that's killing me at the moment of not knowing about our trip this year. If it was any other year, I'd just be like, do you know what? Just put it off till next year. But it's Halloween Horror Nights 30 and it's killing me. Yeah. I just don't. There's too much uncertainty. I just don't know because that event is amazing.
Yeah, just come over. It's over quarantine for 2 weeks, lose your job. It's all right. It's all good.
Back. You have to worry about quarantine and coming back as well then because you've lost your job. So
it's just a job. I mean, whatever.
You can be a yacht captain. So.
I mean, I could. That would be awesome.
Yeah, I keep saying about visas. They've got to catch us and find us to send us home.
But year in, year
That's
out,
a joke.
Halloween Horror Nights wins best haunted attraction around the world, not just in Orlando. Look, I know we complain, the conga lines and all the rest of it, but there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because it is as popular as it is, because it is as good as it is.
It's one of the best things I've ever done, and especially coupled with an RIP tour.
Especially when you got some squealy girls in your group. It does make it better, doesn't it, Chris?
Who, Chris?
Robin made my trip, so yeah, I'm the squealy girl. But the other squealy girl is Robin, which I love, just following her in that conga line.
When you've got the four of us, me, Darren, Chris and Tracy, who are just like, I like that set piece. That's impressive. Like, not a scare in the slightest.
Like, oh, sorry, we tried to scare me.
And then you intersperse that with Robin, Michelle, Zoe, Claire.
Naomi.
Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, Naomi, yes.
Oh, man.
Oh, yes, I remember her first house. That was hilarious. She didn't swear at me, but...
I did.
No, I
so
know
many
you did.
expletives.
I'm trying to remember which house it was that Michelle was basically face planted into my back the entire time.
All of them.
I can't remember the first one. I can tell you where it came out, and it was like it came out of a door. The road said it was a ramp immediately to your right. And obviously we went through multiple times.
Monsters?
Could have been monsters.
Maybe Depths of Fear.
I can't remember. But I remember falling out of that door, dying laughing just because of the way you'd been all the way through it. It was so funny. And I'm pretty sure the people, the staff members stood at the end, at the exit, were not expecting me to fall out the door,
Probably
howling,
not.
laughing. Not the reaction they were going for.
It must be so annoying when you get
So
people
funny.
like us going through, though, and we're just like, they're jumping out trying to scare you, and it's like, oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, well done.
Wait, they probably don't like people like you.
Exactly,
Love
that's
the
what I
makeup,
mean.
man. Looks
They
awesome.
love me.
Of course. Yes. That's why they gravitated towards you doing scare actor dining.
I think they must have walkie-talkies throughout the house and like, hey, go for the girl in the black jacket
You had a
with the
jacket
pink
on?
sneakers.
Yeah.
But yes, Halloween Horror Nights is it kills me that I
Yeah, I'm
can't
excited
go
to see
every
how it
year.
goes this year. to be
Yeah,
honest
it
with
will
you.
be interesting to see how it goes. I think that's the thing. I don't think it's going to be normal.
No.
But I want it to be normal.
All I'm saying is Beetlejuice. I need Beetlejuice.
It's those the icon house and the anniversary house are the two that are going to kill me.
I would love to see Jack wearing that Jack face mask
that would be
that they sell in the parks.
Yeah.
Oh, that would
funny.
be cool.
I think it'd be hilarious to me.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Right. We will move on to the last, kind of the last group. It's kind of split into two, but it's the last group I've got on here. And I put this next group down into just other guests, other people we've had on the show. So recently, talking of Halloween Horror Nights, someone who worked on something we all adored at Halloween Horror Nights 29, and that was Marathon of Mayhem, Andy Garfield.
Hi, this is Andy Garfield, composer of Men in Black, Alien Attack, and Marathon of Mayhem, Halloween Horror Nights Lagoon Show. Wanted to wish the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast a very happy 10th anniversary, and I think my favorite additions to the resort in the last 10 years have been the Harry Potter lands and attractions, and it's just fantastic environments. Diagon Alley is one of my favorite places in the whole world. And the Lagoon Show, Marathon of Mayhem, is fantastic. And Cinematic Celebration, great shows. A little biased, but anyway. Happy 10th anniversary. And here's to many, many more.
He's not wrong. Like, Marathon of Mayhem is hands down one of the best things I've seen in a theme park.
Yes.
How many times did you cry during that one?
Oh, enough.
The lagoon was dry before it started.
I've actually been listening to it quite a lot in the last few days, actually.
Yes, you have.
It is stunning.
Yeah.
I didn't have high expectations based on past lagoon shows, but this one was incredible. Not the most recent ones. I don't know if it's an upgrade in technology or what, but years ago weren't so great. But Marathon of Mayhem, oh my God, incredible.
Yeah, they just kicked it up to another level.
Really
that show. Yeah. It was, using the surrounding buildings and, using the lights, the water, all that stuff. They knew what they were doing. They were just getting you in the palm of their hand and just squishing it.
Yep. So good.
One of my favorite memories of the Weekender. Just being in that big group. Well, both times, the RIP tour and then on the Saturday night when we did it, just a big group of us, and it's... Theme parks are definitely something that need to be experienced with many, many people, and it's just people talk about the community we have here, and getting to share these experiences with that community is amazing. It's memories that I will never ever get rid of. Get rid of? You don't get rid of them, do you? Lose, disappear, whatever.
You hope.
Yes.
Forget. Maybe.
Forget. There we go. Thank you, Chris.
It's all right. It's just his dementia
it's late.
played
It's
up.
like 11:30. Right, moving on. The next one is someone we have had on. I have not done a Rides That Made Me, but I am going to do one with him at some point. The guy who was one of the head creative team behind my favourite attraction at the parks.
Fast and Furious?
Mr. Dave Cobb. Fast and Furious.
Wow, 10 years of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast, and over 30 years for the resort itself, and how crazy that place has grown and expanded. I was really lucky to be there very early on. While I was still in college, I took a trip there and saw the construction site and the model, and then 10 years later, I'm building an attraction there. I was extraordinarily lucky to be connected to that place and help form what it's become today. In the last 10 years, though, I think you can look at things basically through the lens of the Potter effect at how it's expanded, right? You have Hogsmeade and the Diagon Alley and the Hogwarts Express, and then more hotels and Volcano Bay, and it's just become this really amazing place with so many options. And really, really wonderful competition to Disney, frankly, and not just about the theme parks, but about a place you want to stay. What I love about that resort is how compact it is, how you can walk everywhere, the landscaping, the beautiful waterways, the water taxis, all of it's so great. So here's to 10 more years of the Universal Orlando Podcast and many more years for the Universal Orlando Resort.
That is my worry when Epic Universe opens, that it is going to become, I love the fact that it is now, it's exactly like you said earlier, Michelle, that you stay on site and you're within, even if you're at somewhere like Endless Summer, you're 6 minutes away from the resort on a coach. You can literally, I've had enough in Islands today, I'm going to walk over to Studios, or I fancy going to Cowfish for my lunch, I can just walk out.
Mm-hmm.
You never more than 10 minutes away from anywhere on the resort, and then you add Epic Universe in there, and it becomes a different thing. I am slightly worried about how it's going to affect the resort as a whole.
But it hasn't detracted from Disney at all. You've parked hop at Disney.
Yeah, but what a pain in the ass it is.
But it's a different feeling at Disney. It really is. It's at Disney. There's a point where you're like, do I really want to have to hop over to Epcot? Because that's going to take me, you start doing all these calculations about how much energy you have to expend to go from A to B, right? At Universal, that's not ever really a thought for me. It's not ever difficult to get from my hotel back to City Walk for a bite to eat or, to hop from park to park. I trust that Universal is going to do it right with Epic Universe. Although it's a little bit further away, it's still not as far apart as Disney parks are.
Yeah.
And whatever that team has in place to connect that park to the current resort, I have complete faith that they're going to make it seamless.
Yeah, it's just not going to be like if you can go to Universal Orlando as it is right now, and like I say, you get sick at Islands, you hop over to the other one. If you're going to Epic Universe, you're probably going to do a full day there because it's not as easy. You're not going to go, it's getting busy here. Shall we have a pop over to Islands of Adventure? It's not that simple.
It's also going to be a much bigger park.
Yeah, I was going to mention it's the same, footprint as the entire resort over there, right? We're talking 500
acres. Yeah.
Yeah, so we're talking about a much more massive resort over there where I think it's going to be, I think it may even get to the point where it's like making the decision whether you want to go from like Universal to Disney, right? There's two completely different resorts that you're hitting over there because you have Universal Orlando Resort, which you know of now. And if you have the same exact thing on the other side, it's not, just let me skip over here, right? You're going to spend all your time over there, your resorts, there are going to be more hotels over there.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be two different experiences altogether. I think it's going to be something we don't even have right now as we know of.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I think the execution is where it needs to be of how they do it, and how easy it is to get between both resorts, I think, as well.
Definitely.
But I think it's going to be its own resort over there. I don't think it's going to be, just all one resort together. They may just try to do, something completely different.
Yeah.
We'll see.
It is going to be interesting.
Very.
I trust that Michaelo, who's overseeing that thing, knows what he's doing. Let's be honest, Michelle, you've said it before. Everything that man touches turns to gold.
Yes,
he's done a few things.
Yeah,
so
he's all right, isn't he? I trust him, and I think even having spoken to him, I'm going to name drop now. Having spoken to him about it at the weekend, he's like, if we can pull off what we are planning on pulling off, it will be unlike anything anyone's ever seen before, which is like trying to get your head around that as a theme park. It's like, what does that mean? A theme park, it's going to be bizarre.
Somebody in the chat said that we should have the night bus taking us between the parks.
That would be awesome. Yes, that would be cool. Yes, right. Moving
we've
on.
Lost the chat.
Here is a voice we have not heard on anything for a long time. Mr. Derek Bergen, everyone.
Oh!
Hey everybody, Derek Bergen here, and I was graciously asked by Lee to give my thoughts on the last 10 years of the Universal Orlando Resort, so I immediately agreed. I spent an inordinate amount of time coming up with my lengthy list, and then I was given the follow-up directive by Lee that it has to be 1 minute in length, give or take, and this is a quote, 5 seconds. But how can I reduce my thoughts to just 1 minute on all the amazing changes, beginning and ending with Volcano Bay in my mind? But you also have all the awesome hotels. You have the amazing stuff in the parks. You have the great changes in City Walk, like the mini golf hot dog Hall of Fame, up to press penny machine in the store with Jaws on it. I mean, just absolutely crazy. Back to the future in a press penny machine in this studio. That's just a tip of the iceberg. So I'm going to go through my lengthy list. I don't care what Lee says. I'm going to spend as much time as it takes, and we're going to go alphabetically. We're going to start
Anyway, I'm going to cut you off there, Derek. We can't go through that whole list. I'm only kidding. He actually left it there.
Yeah.
The podcast space is very poor for Derek not being around anymore. Wow. He is certainly a tour de force, that man.
Yeah.
Tracy's speechless.
I was howling listening to that message when he sent me it.
I was kind of wanting to hear the list.
Yeah. Settled in.
Yeah, Derek was at our first big meet at 2013, wasn't he? Did the kitchen sink challenge with us
did.
and failed miserably, even
We
though
all
he'd been
did.
bigging himself up that he was going to complete it.
Well, we all said that.
Chris, you're still going to try it, aren't you?
I'm doing it again. Third time's a charm.
And if she fails, she'll do it again.
I will.
Anyway, there's Derek. He didn't really say much, did he?
He
Mini
behaved
golf, as
himself.
he said. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Press penny machines. He's all about the
That
press
was
penny
fun.
machines.
I'm with him. Press penny machines in
There's
the
a
future.
Harry Potter one now in the new store, apparently.
I need
There
those
is.
pennies.
There's a Harry Potter press penny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the new
I gotta
store.
let Alexa know because she has a giant collection of those.
Awesome.
Oh.
There you go. There's 3 different ones in the new Universal store.
Okay, there we go. I gotta make a trip.
I need to get some wallets.
Moving on, because there's not much to comment on Derek's there. Clear your eardrums out. Someone else who has been mentioned tonight, but we haven't heard from him in a very long time, actually.
Okay.
Jim Hill.
Ah.
Dear Lord, has it been 10 years already? Lee and Company, it's Jim Hill, and I just wanted to send along a quick congratulatory message on the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast reaching this auspicious anniversary. And I gotta say, you picked the right decade to get into the talking about the Universal Orlando Resort business. Ever since the original Wizarding World of Harry Potter opened at Islands of Adventure back in June of 2010, it's been the 2 Universal parks in Orlando that have been driving all of the additions and expansions at Central Florida's other theme parks. I mean, let's be honest here, guys. If Disney hadn't been looking over their shoulder at Hogsmeade Village or Diagon Alley, do you think we would have ever gotten Pandora, the World of Avatar, or Star Wars Galaxy's Edge? And the beauty part is, you and the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast team have been right in the thick of things for the past decade, keeping us abreast of all the changes that have been happening at that resort. More importantly, eyeballing all of the epic additions that are about to get underway across the way from the Orange County Convention Center. Thanks for all your hard work, Lee, and for occasionally letting me get in on the fun. Again, congrats on the 10th anniversary of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Here's hoping this very entertaining and informative show goes on for many more years yet to come.
Yes, Julie's just mentioned there. It was because of Jim that our teeny tiny little podcast hit mainstream news a few years ago.
I still have all the
I remember
screenshots.
that.
I was like,
The Harry Potter thing?
yeah. It was so weird when I'm searching all these like major news things and we're getting mentions and I'm like, what the hell's going on right now? Bizarre. But he's right. That's the thing. Universal's legacy, it's not just about Universal Orlando Resort. It's about Disney as well. They're affecting everything around them at this point. Would Disney be doing what they're doing if it wasn't for Universal and what they've done with Hogsmeade?
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
They set the tone and everybody kind of ran with it. They saw how successful that was and they saw the money coming in and that's all it takes.
Well, in fairness, wasn't Pandora like supposed to have been built many moons ago?
Yeah, but it didn't.
Many moons ago.
Because of...
Well, that's just because they take 10 years to build one ride.
anything. Yeah.
So true.
I think it shows you that how well Universal are doing it, that Disney are panicking, that they but Disney looked at what they were doing and reacted to it. Shows that Universal are doing the right things because Disney don't panic at anything. They don't really look at what everyone else is doing like, we don't need to react to that. But the fact that Universal are doing these things and have made Disney take a look at what they're doing says they are going in the right direction.
Yep. And all of us get to benefit
and that's
from this
exactly
competition, and it's great.
Yep.
It really is.
Because Galaxy's Edge is incredible.
I really want to go.
I
really
cannot wait
do.
for that.
Not being a
I'm
massive
still-
Star Wars fan.
I'm still waiting to get there, but yeah.
I'm still waiting to ride Rise of Resistance.
Moving on, we've got 3 more left in this, and then we're getting very close to the end at this point. I can't believe it. So,
Wow.
a good friend of ours and Halloween Horror Nights alumni, Mr. Kevin Vincent, up next.
Hey, Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. This is Kevin Vincent, former Ted Theodore Logan in the Bill and Ted Show at Halloween Horror Nights. I did a few other roles in that show over the years as well as Barney the Dinosaur in A Day in a Park with Barney in 1995. Sad to see that show and venue close. Lee asked if I would comment about Universal over the last 10 years, and I'll say, when my wife and I are walking through Universal Studios and we hear the Back to the Future music or we hear the Jaws theme and we see this excellent Universal Studios retro merchandise featuring all these former attractions, to us it's just a sad reminder of how great this park once was. Now, of course, over the last 10 plus years, Harry Potter has been killing it in both parks, but I would just like to see the other parts of the parks step their game up to that level as well. And I will say, Halloween Horror Nights is still amazing. I went to the first Halloween Horror Nights back in 1991 when it was called Fright Nights, and I had the honor to be a part of that event over the years. And then now, just as a fan, it's still a great event. And I want to say congratulations to the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast on 10 years. Here's to 10 more. But most importantly, be excellent to each other.
Oh,
that's the only. I think we bumped into Kevin at Halloween Horror Nights as well, didn't we?
We did.
Back in 2015.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
it did feel for the longest time that Diagon Alley and Hogsmeade got all the love and that everything. I've seen comments on Facebook pages and stuff of people going, the Potter stuff was awesome, but the rest of the park looked run down, and it's definitely not at that level.
No.
But yeah, you can definitely see where the money really goes. But then you look at the Velocicoaster now, and that looks like it's had no expense spared on it. It is the Jurassic World equivalent of Hagrid.
And just to go back to I guess was it 2008 that Potter opened? 2010, right? So the parks were not in the best shape back then, right? We had a financial crisis, a meltdown in the entire world.
Mm-hmm.
That came out because they were working on it, and they're like, let's finish it off. And then they saw the money coming in from that. And as being, Universal, NBC, I don't think it was even NBC back then, right? It was still Universal.
Comcast, was it then? Or is it Comcast now? I have no idea.
Comcast, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyways, they saw the money, and they're just going to dump the money right back in there to get as much return as they can, right? So we mentioned it earlier, they spent all that time building it up and making money. And now we're seeing the benefits of that, whether it's, 10, 12, whatever years later, where they have money now that they can flex and go, okay, you want a Velocicoaster? Here you go. Here's a full-fledged Velocicoaster, right? So it could be one of those things. I mean, us as park fans, we'd love to blue sky everything with, no budget, whatever. But at the same time, the reality kicks in and we're like, okay, so you have to pay with money. All right. And so I think that's kind of where that, game plan was from. But like I said before, I think we're seeing, everything not being all Potter. They're focusing on other IPs and other things, even in their commercials and everything. So I think that's where we're going to be seeing the direction of the park go. Plus, I think Universal also sees what, Warner Brothers is doing with their Potter stuff in other areas of the world. And they're like, okay, let's not just be all Potter over here. Let's make sure we can expand and be other things just in the event. I don't know, if Potter didn't exist anymore, what would happen to Universal?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, it's return on investment, isn't it? That's why they've put the money into Potter, because you spend the money to get the money back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you look at Fast and Furious looked like a bit of we want to put a new attraction in. It won't cost us that much because the R&D's already been done over it. In Hollywood, the same with Kong. But then you look at Kong compared to Fast and Furious, and it's night and day.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they're virtually the same attraction. Fallon won't cost them that much in. So you see they've put these cheaper attractions in and saved the money to then be able to go in and put Hagrid's into Hogsmeade. And now with the Velocicoaster, like I say, it looks like it's on the same level as what they've done with Hagrid. It looks amazing. It's added so
100%.
much to that land. And hopefully we will continue to see that move forward. I mean, even Bourne, I don't think a lot of people, we haven't seen it yet, sneak peeks and stuff of it. But I'll be honest, from what we've seen, I cannot wait to see it.
I know, I'm looking forward to that.
And I think a lot of people...
It's an amazing show. It's an amazing show. Like, they killed it with that show. It's a show that we still go to the park now and go, do you want to go watch it? Like, not like, do you want to go watch it? It's, do you want to go watch it? Like, let's go do it.
Yeah.
And unless it's like super crowded, we'll go watch it because it's that much fun. And we enjoy taking, like, it's such a great show where we enjoy just taking other people to go and see it and be like, you're going to see this amazing show. Come on. I took my parents and they were blown away by the show. And, it's, so they can do it. They still have the magic there, but,
And again, it shows they can take an IP that everyone was like, what? Bond?
We ranked on it like crazy.
We
over the
did.
years.
Really
we
did.
ranked on it so hard, and I, whatever. I'll take the abuse after that. But
how does that make any sense? Bond hasn't been a Bond film for like however many years, and everyone was like, "Oh my god, it is amazing." There's that word again.
But the show needed that franchise in order to display all of the different technologies that they use. I can't think of another franchise that it would have worked as well with.
James Bond.
That's even older.
You could have done Bond. You could have done like what's the Jason Statham one? Transporter. Yeah.
I mean, there's nothing new. Like we're ragging on it because Bourne was like an old thing.
Yeah.
There's nothing new out there. It's amazing. It's awesome.
I really can't wait to see it.
I can't wait for you to cry like crazy after watching it, Lee.
Oh well, I am. I cried because I missed Terminator 2 3D as well.
Yeah.
No, you'll love it.
Yeah, this is one of those like replacements of Jaws for Diagon Alley, where it's like it's sad. We'll accept it.
Yeah.
Fair
it
enough.
is.
Okay. Moving on, our second from last clip of our other guests, and this is a guy it was sad, the circumstances that happened, but as soon as he got laid off from Universal, I was like, hell yeah, I need to collect the final Pokemon. The one and only Mr. Patrick Brayland.
Hi, everybody. This is Patrick Braylard, former creative development show director for Universal Orlando, and I am so happy for Lee and Tracy on this amazing accomplishment of 10 years for the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. Congratulations, guys. You have done an amazing job bringing the world of theme parks to the masses in such a wonderful, enthusiastic manner, and I cannot wait to see what the next 10 years holds for you. There are many things that have changed over the last 10 years, but I think the thing that is most important about Universal Orlando is the attention to detail and the commitment to the overall guest experience. That's something that that is truly special about that place. All the love, guys. And again, congratulations.
Patrick is
so nice.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm so like he was always like I wanted all the Halloween Horror Nights creative team, and Patrick was we got Charles and we got Blake and we had Mike and we got Laura, and it's like we never ever got Patrick.
Yeah.
So like I know it's sad that all the layoffs and that happened to COVID, but it's like from my point of view, I was like, Patrick, I know it seems really crappy of me to reach out to you now, but do you fancy coming on? And he's like, I'd love to.
I'm sure that's what he was thinking too.
Yeah, he probably
got
was.
The news.
Yeah.
Yes, I can be on UUOP now.
Exactly. Finally.
Been waiting for them to fire me.
Yeah, but he's right. The overall guest experience at Universal has increased massively from the old days. Team members are amazing. The overall experience is better. Yeah, you still get the odd one because look, everyone has a bad day. No one's perfect all the time, but it was always Disney that set the benchmark for cast members of being this amazing guest service experience, and I think you get as good, if not better, at Universal now at times.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they definitely stepped it up.
I mean, the spews we've had through.
Yeah, I mean the fact that they've even got their own hashtag UO fist bump going is testament to how good the team members are there. And it's like, you look, it was always people's dreams. Look at Hunter. Hunter's a prime example. He always wanted to work for Disney. And I think that was a lot of kids' dream, was to go and work at Walt Disney World. And I think since Potter opened and that guest experience at Universal's got better, that you were starting to see more and more people go, do you know what? I want to work at Universal now. Because from what I've heard, talking to team members we know, they treat their team members way better than Disney do. And when you have a boss, a company that you work for that values you, then that makes you want to go out and be better. And I think that comes across when you visit the parks.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Disney last summer was a bit different when it comes to cast member morale and the magic that you kind of expect going to Disney. I don't know exactly where that came from, but it must be something behind the scenes with, like you said, with how they're being treated through this whole experience. I don't know, but I did not experience any of that at Universal. Universal's been fabulous. The way the team members have rallied and kept up their spirits. It's been good.
Yeah, I mean, you can see it just talking to people when you're getting off a ride. Just the way they talk back to you, the way like their attitude is, everything kind of tells you hey, you're having a good day. You know what I mean? Like it,
Mm-hmm.
whether they are, they aren't, right? It still kind of shows that, even to the point where, you know, when I go to the parks, for some reason, we always bump into Kenneth, you know, and whether that may be because we're directly walking that way to look for him, or just because we're walking by, you know. But even all like the crew that works with him there and everybody's just talking. They're just it's kind of the vibe that they give you, right? It's just a very nice, calm kind of. They're kind of happy to be there. I mean, as happy as you can be to be at work, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they're not miserable. Let's just say that much, right? And that goes to show kind of, it comes from leadership, right?
Yep.
It's always the way an employee is going to be. It comes down from leadership, the way you are treated.
Yep.
And that goes from your higher ups, goes down to your team leads, goes down to your next level. And as long as you have a nice kind of flow going on there, the right attitudes, you're going to get that there. And I think Universal's been doing a really good job at that for the most part.
They have.
Yeah.
And it seems to be that during COVID that they seem to be doing the better job in park as well. I mean, I don't know, but just from what I've heard, obviously you guys have experienced it firsthand, but it seems to be that overall Universal seem to be handling COVID better than Disney are as well. I don't want to keep ragging on the two, but obviously that's the comparison.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know because I haven't been to Disney, but
Good lad.
I just haven't gone.
Part of his contract, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I don't want to keep ragging either, but it's kind of true. I mean, in my experience over there, the few times that I've been during COVID, it's, I don't know, the way that they approach misbehavior over at Disney seems to be a little bit more, I don't want to say aggressive, but crass. Like they just have an attitude about it that makes you automatically want to, fight back a little bit. Whereas Universal, they'll get on to you, but they do it in a nicer way, which is weird because it's usually kind of the opposite.
Yeah. There's like cheerleaders out in Universal.
Yeah, they're like
that are just
with
like,
the signs. Like
they have the signs. Like they have like an entire team developed for like enforcing rules and stuff like that, especially now during the last year, obviously.
But they do it in more of a positive way.
Like there's people in front of the parks on microphones just talking about the day and how much fun you're gonna have, but they're like super nice about it, and they're like tell you really nicely to put your mask over your nose, which sounds like such a weird thing to like talk about, but obviously it is where we are right now. And I think they do such a really good job, like, and it's really good for both whoever you are, right? They do it, they enforce it really well, but they don't do it like I think Michelle said, it's not in like this nasty way. It's just kind of like, hey, this is what we got to do. Let's do it together. And that's it. And everybody's like, okay, cool. And let's continue moving forward.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, John's just brought up a point. So the virus handling debate is a matter of perspective between Walt Disney World and Universal. He said Walt Disney World's under more scrutiny than Universal is, and that's probably true.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah.
We will see. It will be very interesting to see who comes out of this pandemic, the higher thought of the two. But I think I like to say Universal certainly have not done themselves any harm.
No. I think they've handled it beautifully.
Yeah. Right, moving on. Our last clip in this penultimate section is someone we had him on a lot in the space of a short amount of time.
Okay.
He's more known for Disney than he is for Universal.
Ah.
But he is a talker, and we haven't spoken to him in a long time, and that is Ron Schneider.
Ah.
Unofficial greetings to Lee and the staff of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. And congratulations on this, your 10-year anniversary. This is Ron Schneider, former creative supervisor and show writer for Universal Studios Florida, and veteran of the myth that was Hollywood East back in the oh-so-gay 1990s. The Universal Studio Tour on the West Coast was inspired by the creative vision and financial success of one man, namely Walt Disney. But in their determination to get their feet wet in the theme park biz, they've not only established themselves as a true creative presence in the industry by wisely giving jobs to every former Imagineer they can find, but also set new industry standards for squeezing every cent they can from the guests' pockets. In so doing, they've also inspired their Florida neighbors to new heights of technical and artistic expression and forever changed the industry. On the other hand, there's Fast and Furious Supercharged.
I literally howled out loud when I got to the end of that bit.
Where's the lie? Oh, Yeah, that was awesome.
Fast and Furious isn't that bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's not.
It really is.
It really is.
Sorry.
The only time I've enjoyed riding it was when we went on as a group and took over the ride.
And that was amazing.
That was it. And I wasn't there for the ride, I was there for the people.
I don't mind it, honestly. It's not the best thing in the world.
We know you love it.
It's not the... I didn't say I love it.
You have done.
I have not. It's not the worst thing in the world. There are worse attractions at Universal Orlando.
When the review comes out saying, I don't mind it.
Yeah.
The funniest thing when we got off it and we knew we were doing the live review afterwards, Chris was looking at me. He's like, go on. And I was like, I'm not saying anything. He went, he liked it. I told you, Darren. I told you he liked it.
It was out of spite.
It wasn't. I didn't mind it. Like you say, my opinion of it could have been tainted by the fact that we had a whole bus to ourselves. We had both pre-shows to ourselves. It was...
It was a tainted ride, man. That's not how that ride is. Like,
no.
We had a blast.
If your first ride had been in February last time you were there, as opposed to the Weekender, I think your attitude would be totally different.
Probably.
Yeah.
I remember Tracy's face next to you, like while you were saying that. She was just kind of disgusted at you, but she was so upset.
The thing is, I think people thought I was doing it to just be contrary, but I wasn't.
Yeah, we know you're just a freak.
Okay. Let's move on to the final little section of clips we have. Now, when I started this podcast back in 2011, there were people I wanted. I had a wish list of people. Someone's already asked, is there anyone you wanted on the show that you didn't get? At this point, I would love to get Mark, who's the head of Universal Creative at this point, Mark Woodbury.
Yes.
Yes. I would love to get Mark Woodbury on the show. But when I set out to do this, there was one person that I said, when I have that person on the podcast, if it ends at that point, I will end it happy.
Is that me?
No, you're not.
See, I told you to end at one show.
Over the last couple of years, we have built quite a relationship with Universal Orlando. Ali, who was in the chat earlier, is someone I want to give a huge shout out. I think she's gone at
amazing.
This point, but if she's still there, Ali, I want to give a huge shout out to you. That the relationship that we have with Universal and with yourself is one that I cherish so much, and it's been amazing watching that relationship grow and getting to meet you, go for lunch at the Today Cafe, and just build that relationship. And through that relationship, we have been able to have some Universal Creative members on the show, and I am going to play the clips that Ali procured for us. So the first one is a very good friend of ours at this point.
At this point, this could be anybody.
Mr. Blake Braswell.
Tracy and Lee, it's Blake Braswell from the Universal Orlando Resorts Entertainment Team. Congratulations to 10 years of your show. I am sure it has brought you a ton of great memories while following along with what's been happening here at Universal for the past 10 years, and I am so glad that my work here has allowed me to meet the two of you and join you on a few of your episodes. Thank you for always being a blast to chat with and for being so much fun when we finally got to meet in person. Tracy, I especially thank you for dealing with Lee and I talking away about soccer every time we get together. One of my favorite memories, as a matter of fact, is of Lee recording a personal video blog, giving me a tour of his beloved Darlington Football Club. I can't wait to see a match in person with the two of you one day. That is definitely on the bucket list. Yes. But congratulations again on 10 years of the Unofficial Universal Orlando Podcast. You all rock. I'll see you in the fog.
I love Blake so much.
And thank you for the neck sock.
Chris, I mean, how many Universal Creative team members are you going to sit down with and not even talk about Universal and just talk about Batman v Superman for 25 minutes?
Listen, man, like that was one of the highlights of my Horror Nights, was literally sitting down for an hour inside Cafe La Bamba.
It was awesome.
Talking about Batman versus Superman and just, me and Blake ragging on you about how bad a movie that was. But, no, it was, he's such a personable character. Like he's a blast. And then, doing, the interview and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And recording in the studio. There's just, it's just, and the thing about him that I loved about him was that he just makes you feel like you've known him forever. It was so easy to talk to him and just have a conversation. It was great. And obviously all the work that he's done in the parks and bringing us tons of stuff to not just enjoy but talk about and everything. He's a cool cat, man. He really
is.
Yeah.
You know, I class him as a friend. You know, we chat regularly now, and I wouldn't have wanted to do that recording in the broadcast studio with anybody else.
No, definitely not. No.
Which sounds like I've kind of met him, but not really.
And the neck socks, man. The neck socks.
Yeah. He's just such a genuine guy and just easy to connect with, and kindred spirit. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, and then there's a bromance.
Oh, there's definitely a bromance.
Oh, definitely.
You do not know how embarrassed I was when I filmed that little vlogger, because obviously
I didn't even know about this.
Yeah, I sent it to him, Ron, and Ferris. And I'm like vlogging from the match. I was so embarrassed because like people looking at me, what the hell is he doing?
Wow.
It was very odd. Right, moving on. One of Blake's Halloween Horror Nights alumni, who likes to rag on us the fact that we don't get to go to Halloween Horror Nights all the time, Mr. Charles Gray.
Hey, this is Charles Gray, Senior Show Director for Universal Orlando Resort. I just want to congratulate Tracy and Lee, and yes, I did say Tracy first, the most important one. I think the most fun I have with the interviews is teasing both of you and being teased by you. It's a lot of fun. As you guys like to say, I like to be cheeky, but we both share, or all of us share, that love of the horror films and the haunted mazes. So I hope you come by soon. Congratulations again, 10 years. That is awesome.
Yeah, we haven't actually met Charles in person yet, which is a bit of a shame. But yeah, he's awesome. I know you guys haven't spoken to him, but
another genuinely easy to talk to guy. He's just normal, which we are all just.
I know you keep saying that, but
day.
It's just like every interview we do, it doesn't matter who it is. But when we've done like Charles and Blake and the two other people we're going to talk about in a second, I think I'm literally throwing up beforehand.
You are weird.
The penultimate one, someone we haven't had on for a very long time. And Ali, we never get this person anymore. And it's been years since we've spoken to her. But someone who is also part of the Halloween Horror Nights team. She wasn't even called the name she's called now when we had her on back then. Back then, she was known as Laura Wallace. But now, she is Laura Sauls.
Yeah.
Hi, Tracy and Lee. This is Laura Sauls from Universal Orlando's Creative Development Art and Design team. I just want to say happy 10th anniversary on your Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. It's always great talking to you both, and we cannot wait to see you back in the fog at HHN 2021. Bye.
Hopefully. Yeah, we haven't spoken to Laura. It was years ago we had Laura on.
So sweet.
Yeah, I mean, she's like the female Mike Aiello at this point, isn't she? She's been there forever.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of
That's
which,
so cool.
The last clip.
Of course.
The one person that I said I wanted on the podcast when we first started this thing, and we have had Mike on at least 3 times, I think, at this point. We've bumped into him God knows how many times. Chris, if it wasn't for you, I'd have missed him when he walked past us in Zombieland. He'd had quite a few drinks at that point because he was slurring quite a bit. But he
Makes
is
him funner.
Amazing. Yeah. That is Mike Aiello.
Tracy and Lee, this is your pal Mike Aiello from Universal Orlando, wishing you a congratulations on 10 years of the Unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. I can't believe it's been that long, and I'm so happy to have been a small part of that 10-year history. I think your podcast was the first one I ever did in my role here at Universal.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. What a fantastic job you both have done, and been a great friend, you know, right along with us as Universal has evolved over these last 10 years into what it's become. So great. Love to you both. And again, congratulations on this milestone. And thanks for letting me be a part of it.
Oh,
Goosebumps.
You talk about someone.
Turn 'em on, Lee.
Yeah, you talk about someone that has Universal Orlando running through their veins. It is that man there.
Yeah.
He is
He's
Universal
awesome.
Orlando.
Yeah. I still remember Big Fire.
Yes. Stuart was like, there's
Stuart and Claire.
I just went, all right, Mike.
We just went up and talked to them. And Stuart and Claire like, what?
But it's the same. Like, Summer's awesome.
I was
The
gonna say
kids
Summer,
are
yeah, oh my
amazing.
goodness.
Like, Caden is going to follow in
Oh,
Mike's
wow.
footsteps. He
Yeah.
will be the
Oh,
next
yeah.
Mike Aiello. Caden is
That's mini Halloween Horror Nights right there.
Without a doubt.
Paige will follow in Summers as well.
Yeah. They just,
Oh my gosh, yeah, they've created clones of themselves.
I know.
Such an amazing family. They are the people that you aspire to be in your life.
So fun. Again, I keep using the word genuine, but they are just genuinely nice people.
Yeah.
It's just, I just feel very blessed to have people like that in my life.
And you look at Mike as well. If anyone is ever like, I want to work at theme parks, like he is the example you follow. He started off working as a scare actor at Halloween Horror Nights, ended up getting hired as a Jaws skipper, got kicked off the Jaws skipper because he went off script too much, and they moved him up into other entertainment, and now look where he is. He's like head of Epic Universe. It's like, wow.
Yeah.
Crazy story.
It's amazing.
And yet he's still humble.
Yeah.
After all that.
It's certainly not lost on him at all.
No. None of them.
So that is going to wrap up 10 years of UUOP. Let Tracy get a drink. Everyone get your drinks ready. I've got a little bit left in the bottom.
Ugh.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who has listened, helped, contributed in any way that you have over the last 10 years and been part of this journey. In 10 years, we've hosted 3 mini-meets at Universal Orlando, a weekend event in the UK with our friends Lee and Sarah, Haunted Hangout, a weekend event at Universal thanks to Robin and Michelle, which again will go down as one of the best weekends, just weeks of my life. We are 449 episodes in, plus however many bonus episodes and whatever else that we've done, and of course, Producers Club exclusives. If you want to hear us unedited, then that's where you want to be. As we said when we went on the Producer Club before this, the Producer Club has grown every year and it's become an amazing community. We love you all. But the one thing that I am so proud to say that I have gained from starting this podcast, and it's been mentioned tonight already a little bit, and I'm sure Tracy, Chris, Michelle will agree with me, are the people that we now call friends because of this podcast. I can feel it already starting.
Oh, yep.
The people that I class as my family now are all people that I know because of this podcast. And I'll tell you now, you can hear it in my voice.
Really, I can see it.
That when we get back over to Orlando and we get to meet you guys, this is my one swear. Michelle, get the bleep ready. I am going to hug the out of everybody because I need it so much. This journey started just me and Tracy.
Yeah.
But there's many, many people being a part of it. It's not just us. Michelle and Chris, our co-hosts now, this is an awesome team and I love that we all are in this together, and I think we work amazingly as a team.
Yeah, it's
I love
like
you
guys.
said,
the family we've made from people on the podcast, just meeting people prior. There's way too many people that I've now just call almost family here on this podcast. And it's such a pleasure. Stuart sent me a picture with me with a wig on when we started this live thing. Thank you, Stuart.
He's been messaging me all the way through.
It's just doing this and the people we've gotten to meet along the way, and just being able to sit around and just talk about the thing that we love.
Yeah.
It's not very often you get to do something like that. So it's a pleasure. And like he said, if no one was listening, it'd just be us talking to ourselves. So thank you for listening.
Yeah.
And it's been effortless, all those friendships and family that we've made. It's not like we had to do anything to make that happen. We literally just met up as if we'd known each other forever. And it was amazing. And we don't just, at the Weekender and even on, private messages or, in the groups, we don't just talk about Universal.
No.
We all relate in so many different ways now. And it's awesome. We've shared our families, we've shared our, so much, and it's just going to get better and better from there.
I have people now because of this that are my close friends that have helped me through some rough times in my life because of it. And I thank that every day. I'm sure at least 2 of them are listening at the moment. You are. I just want to say a big thank you on behalf of all of us to every single person that has had any sort of, whether you've listened or whatever it is. Thank you all so much, because as Chris said, without you guys, this is just the 4 of us talking to each other, which isn't a bad thing. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, we do it sometimes, but it's a lot better with more people around, more of a party.
I've managed to keep it fairly well. So everyone, sorry, Tracy, go on.
No, I just wanted to say, thank you to everybody who's been a part of this and helped us grow and started off, I've started as friends, and have become family. And I've always said that you're friends for a few minutes, and then you're in my family. You know, and my family has grown exponentially over the last 10 years, and to see how everybody else has forged their own friendships and relationships, and it's just, I feel like a proud parent, to be honest. I've never had that feeling before. Sorry, kids.
I hope your children don't listen to
No, they don't.
Jade's right next to her. She's like,
Yeah. She's like, oh, again, Mum. No. But no, it's, you know me, I can't be serious for more than 2 minutes. No, there's been a lot of hard work gone in, a lot of fighting going on behind the scenes.
You wouldn't believe it.
You know, and it's, no, to know that what we've done and what we've created is appreciated, it just means so much.
It makes it worthwhile.
It really does. Because there's some Mondays where I go, oh, God,
you're not
God,
the only
it's
one.
Monday again.
I come in from work.
But then you get into it.
And I think, the last thing I want to do is sit down and talk about the theme parks for the next 2 hours. And then an hour in, it's like, this is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah. This is what we were supposed to do.
Yeah. So everyone, if you have a drink, raise your glasses to 10 years of UUOP and another 10 more at least, hopefully, maybe.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone.
Salute.
Come back.
Salute.
How are me and Tracy the ones drinking alcohol and you two are the ones drinking water, by the way?
Because there's a time difference.
So anyway, yes, thank you all to everyone who is watching live. It's been a blast trying to keep up with the comments. It's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you to everyone who is listening. Thanks to everyone who has done whatever you've done, left us iTunes reviews, you've commented on the Facebook page, you've followed us on Instagram, whatever it is. You know, this whole community is wherever you follow us. And so we are going to end this show like we always do, but slightly differently, with us giving you what we all think Universal is. I've put myself last because I haven't got one. So, Chris, it is over to you.
So Universal is a bleep load of things to me. But I guess right now, all I can say is Universal is my podcast family.
Oh.
Yeah.
Michelle?
Aw. How are you supposed to follow that?
Exactly. Thanks, Chris.
God dang, okay.
Yeah, I like
You
mine.
messed
I
up
don't
putting
anymore.
me first.
Universal is bleeping awesome.
I mean, you're not wrong. Tracy?
Okay. Universal is past, present, future.
Oh, no, that is a good one.
That's good.
See, I left
That's
myself last because I wanted the
right.
final word, but the problem is I haven't.
You haven't got one? First time ever, folks. Cherish this moment.
This would have been easier if I'd have had tears going on right now because it would have come from the heart, but Universal is my life. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for 10 years.
Yeah.
Thank
we
you all.
look forward to seeing you for 10 more. See you next week.
Guess that wraps things up for another unofficial Universal Orlando podcast. You guys did all right. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Pinterest, keyword UUO Podcast. Listen and subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or anywhere podcasts are found. You can find our blog at uuopodcast.com. Send us your spews, which Lou gets your poo recordings, questions, or comments to podcast@uuopodcast.com. Check out our friends, the Theme Park Duo, and our awesome sponsors, Mouse and Muggle Travel Company. So, until next time, don't give up your day job. Say cheese. See you later.